Mike Tyson will forever remain etched in the history of boxing as one of the most ferocious knockout artists the sport has ever seen. He was the kind of fighter who could end a bout before his opponent even broke a sweat. His speed, his power, and his relentless aggression made him an unstoppable force in the ring. In his prime, no one could imagine lasting more than a round against him. Tyson's fists were like sledgehammers, and when he landed, careers were often cut short. Yet even the most dominant champions face moments of doubt, and Tyson was no exception. There were times when he seemed pushed to the edge of defeat, when the aura of invincibility was nearly shattered. But those moments only served to remind the world why he was the king of boxing. Because Tyson always found a way to claw back, fight tooth and nail, and prove that no one could keep him down. The most infamous example came in 1990, when Tyson suffered the first loss of his career against Buster Douglas. At the peak of his dominance, Tyson was expected to steamroll Douglas, a fighter no one truly believed could stand toe-to-toe with Iron Mike. But in Tokyo, the unthinkable happened. Douglas came into the fight determined, prepared, and fueled by personal tragedy. Round after round, he stunned the world by outboxing the champion, using his jab and movement to frustrate Tyson. Then came the shocking moment, a thunderous uppercut followed by a series of punches that sent Tyson crashing to the canvas. For the first time, the invincible giant was human. Tyson tried to rise, fumbling for his mouthpiece, but the referee's count ended the reign of terror. That night in Tokyo became one of the greatest upsets in sports history, proving even Iron Mike could bleed. But it also set the stage for his comeback stories, fights where he refused to let defeat define him. One of those came against Donovan "Razor" Ruddock, a fighter many believed had the tools to end Tyson's era for good. Ruddock was younger, powerful, and just as hungry as Tyson had been when he first burst onto the scene. Leading up to the fight, Ruddock promised the world that Tyson was done, that he was the one who could finally put an end to the myth of Iron Mike. But Tyson thrived on challenges like this. As soon as the opening bell rang, both men exploded with animalistic fury, throwing bombs as if each punch could end the fight. The crowd watched in awe, holding their breath with every exchange. Tyson's precision began to show, slicing through Ruddock's guard like a chef preparing his finest cut. By the third round, Tyson floored Ruddock with a devastating counter, a reminder of just how dangerous he remained. But Ruddock wasn't finished. He came storming back, unleashing uppercuts and hooks that had Tyson's fans fearing the worst. In the seventh round, when it seemed Tyson might crumble, he unleashed a vicious combination that forced the referee to stop the fight. Tyson had once again proved his resilience, showing the world that even when pushed to the brink, he could rise and conquer. In 1999, Tyson faced Francois Botha in a fight that became infamous before the first punch was thrown. In the lead-up, a journalist asked Tyson about Botha being a massive underdog, and Tyson's response was pure fire. He lashed out, cutting the interview short, his temper boiling over. By the time fight night arrived, Tyson was already enraged, and Botha's dirty tactics inside the ring only fueled his fury further. Botha taunted, clinched, and even tried to toy with Tyson, frustrating the former champion and nearly luring him into disqualification when Tyson appeared to try and break his opponent's arm in the clinch. For a moment, it seemed like the strategy might work, that Tyson's own anger would cost him everything. But then his corner calmed him down, and the storm was unleashed. Tyson regained his focus, and in the fifth round, he landed one of the most brutal right hands of his career. Botha collapsed, stumbling in a daze, unable to beat the count. It was a one-punch knockout that sent shockwaves through the boxing world. Tyson's rage had been channeled into pure destruction, and his message was clear: never mistake his temper for weakness. But perhaps one of Tyson's most underrated battles came in 1987 against Tony Tucker, the towering IBF champion who stood 2 heads taller than Iron Mike. Tucker was undefeated, with a record of 34-0, and had recently beaten Buster Douglas, the man who would later give Tyson his first loss. Going into the fight, Tucker wasn't just another challenger. He was seen as Tyson's equal, maybe even his superior. When the two met in the ring, Tyson wasted no time, charging at the giant with his trademark aggression. Yet Tucker was more than just size. He had skill, confidence, and the arrogance to taunt Tyson mid-fight. At one point, Tucker mocked him openly, acting as if the young champion was a child, rather than the most feared man in boxing. That arrogance nearly cost Tyson, as Tucker landed sharp right hands that shook him. But Tyson's fury only grew. Round by round, he chipped away at the giant, working the body, slipping inside, and delivering thunderous hooks. By the later rounds, Tucker was fading, his bravado gone while Tyson was relentless. After 12 brutal rounds, Tyson emerged victorious, becoming the undisputed champion and reminding the world that arrogance had no place in the ring with him. Then came Frank Bruno, the muscle-bound British powerhouse who looked more like a sculpted statue than a boxer. Bruno had size, strength, and confidence. He promised to knock Tyson out spectacularly, calling him bad for boxing and vowing to wipe him off the map. But Tyson was no zebra to be hunted, he was the lion. The fight began with Tyson's trademark ferocity, dropping Bruno in the first round with a crushing right hand. To his credit, Bruno recovered and even managed to hurt Tyson with a left hook that had the champion momentarily wobbled. For a brief moment, it looked as if Bruno's prediction might come true. But Tyson wasn't built to fold. He regrouped, unleashing a storm of punches that battered Bruno until the referee mercifully stopped the fight. The so-called muscle machine had been broken down, exposed, and humbled by the king. And then there was Mitch Green, the loudmouth gang leader who tried to make a name for himself by taunting Tyson. Green promised to crush him, to expose him, but Tyson never wasted words. His answers came in the ring. For 12 rounds, Tyson turned Green's face into a canvas of bruises, pummeling him relentlessly. Green had moments where he landed shots, but they were drowned out by Tyson's fury. Tyson didn't knock him out, but sometimes victory isn't about a quick finish, it's about domination. Tyson dragged Green through hell, making sure every second of the fight was punishment. And when Green later tried to reignite their rivalry with a street fight, Tyson delivered a bare-knuckle punch so powerful it shattered Green's face and cemented the legend of his ferocity outside the ring as well. These were the fights where Mike Tyson was tested, where defeat seemed possible, where the aura of invincibility flickered. But each time, whether through sheer power, raw determination, or unrelenting aggression, he reminded the world who he was. He was Iron Mike, the youngest heavyweight champion in history, the baddest man on the planet, the fighter who turned fear into a weapon and left a trail of giants broken in his wake. Tyson's legacy isn't just about the knockouts, it's about the nights when he stared defeat in the face and refused to let it take him. Mike Tyson's story is one of greatness, resilience, and unmatched ferocity. Even in his darkest moments, he found ways to rise, to fight back, and to remind everyone why he was the king of boxing. He was more than a champion. He was a phenomenon, a storm in human form. And no matter what came his way, Tyson proved time and again that he would never back down. That is why he remains one of the greatest to ever step into the ring. What do you think was Tyson's greatest comeback moment? Do you believe anyone today could match his raw power and intimidation? Let us know your thoughts in the comments, and if you enjoyed this journey into the legend of Iron Mike, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss more epic boxing stories.